Let's do a little lesson on steelmanning. This is about a short video that featured on the X app. It went viral. It's an interview between Howie Mandel and Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Now, in the video interview, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. points out that the news media had been saying for months, years even, that if you took the V, you could not get or pass along the C. Now, in the video, Howie claimed that no, the media never said that. He never heard that. And then he would not let RFK Jr. play one of those compilation clips. What is the defense for Howie? Is there a defense for Howie? Let's imagine we're going to steelman him for a moment. So steelmanning is the opposite of strawmanning. Strawmanning is where you take the worst version or worst interpretation of your opposition and run with that. So it's pretty easy to strawman the opposition. It's pretty easy to strawman. Now, you could strawman both of them. You could say that, well, RFK was just going to play a bunch of deceptive clips. He's a known anti-V guy, so he's not the real deal. He's whatever you could say about him. It's just sort of a straw man, right? Oh, so he's anti-science. Haha, look at anti-science guy. Anti-science wants to play a bunch of edited conspiracy videos, a bunch of cheap fake videos. He's just going to play, right? This is real media. This is real news. This is real content. So that could be the straw manning of RFK. You could also straw man Howie and say, well, obviously he's just lying. He's taking money from them. Obviously, usually the word "obviously" is used with straw manning in order to make it seem like everyone should know, everyone should believe that your exaggeration / insult is obvious and everyone sees it. So obviously is going to be used for straw manning. Well, what would steelmanning look like? Well, the steelmanning, this is suggested by one of the subscribers of this show, Daily Persuasion. The steelmanning could be something like, it's possible Howie, just didn't in fact see any of those videos from the media or news reports. So when he says no, they never said that, I never saw it, well, it very well could be his defense. In his defense, could very well be he just simply, in fact, didn't see that, because often newsmakers aren't news consumers. This is a real thing, by the way. I was recently on a panel on new media, influence, and journalism at America Fest, the Turning Point event right before Christmas. And it came out how little journalists consume journalism, how those who are on the camera hardly ever watch anyone else who's on camera. Now, this is in mainstream media. So when mainstream journalists are pressed for facts, when they're challenged or when they meet someone who challenged them, they are often speechless or they resort to personal attacks because they don't have access to facts, because they aren't news consumers. They don't do their research. They don't do their homework. They read the teleprompter. Reporters and even commentators are professional teleprompter and script readers. They tend not to do their own kind of gumshoe work, so to speak. While this is insulting to Howie, this might actually be his best defense. That he only ever heard one thing from his own network and not any other. So that's how you could defend Howie. Now, what about Howie's refusal to allow, at least in the clip that I saw, that was about going viral on X, refusing to allow RFK Jr. to play the compilation clips? No, we're not going to pull that up. What is the defense for that? Well, you would have to, in order to steal a man Howie, we have to kind of strawman RFK. We have to assume RFK just wants to play a bunch of propaganda. Is there a way to steal man that straw man? Well, we could say Howie didn't want to get demonetized, by having certain keywords show up, which is why I said the V and the C here in this show, because the AI is so good at detecting any of these keywords that are used, and even mentioning them they will come after you so fast. So it very well could be that Howie was self-interested and didn't want to get canned. That's probably his strongest defense. It's obviously his strongest defense. Okay, I'm being kind of coy and funny now. So even when someone is acting in what appears to be bad faith, it's possible to steelman them. What steelmanning does is it takes the outrage. If you are feeling outrage or fear, either of those two emotions, you can be controlled. Persuasion is all about persuading yourself first so you can persuade others. If you're being controlled by outrage and fear, you're not going to be able to control other people for their benefit. Let's say you won't be able to influence them at the very least. So understand, if you yourself are possessed by outrage and fear, if you're being moved by either of those, you're not going to be in a rational mind. You're not going to be more easily able to defend against manipulation. And steelmanning those people, thinking through, how would I defend this person in such a way that a rational person would say, oh, okay, that makes sense. That's what steelmanning is. Defending someone that you would otherwise think is in bad faith so that a reasonable person would go, oh, okay, that makes sense. So this steelmanning we've done for Howie in this clip, which is seemingly indefensible, we can say, well, he being a news creator, a culture commentary creator, does not consume news and culture commentary, which is typical of journalists and the mainstream media. They don't know anything. That's not an insult. It's just simply generally what's true. So that's actually the best defense, as insulting as that may be. That's his best defense. And then you could say, well, why wouldn't you let RFK Jr. play? Well, obviously, I have to use that word here. It is what it is. Well, obviously, he didn't want the clips to be played on his show because the potential to be demonetized. He didn't know necessarily what's going to be on the clips. And so it's a matter of self-interested financially, which it is what it is. But you're going to go, okay, that makes sense. So even the best defense of how he doesn't make him look good. And that's not obvious from it. But the point of this exercise is to take the outrage and the fear out of the situation. Hope that helps.